From actors accidentally getting turned on to stars needing tequila just to get through the scene, the truth is way messier than the final cut. Some laugh about it, others still cringe. So why do these intimate moments leave such a lasting impact on the stars and the audience?
Actually, the most awkward scene for me to film was the mildly lesbian scene with Roxanne. Yeah, that was the most tricky, I found. I don't know why particularly. I think it's because Danny found it tricky.
If you've seen Game of Thrones, you know Emilia Clarke had a lot of those scenes. What's wild is that in the first season, she didn't even get a proper intimacy coordinator. She later admitted she felt super uncomfortable at times and didn't know she had the power to say no. Thankfully, things changed in later seasons when she got more control.
Talk to me a little bit about, look, you're giving the ladies what they want. Are you aware of what this is doing to the ladies is the question that I have.
I mean, listen, we for all fairness, we shot that a year ago before I got that.
Michael B. Jordan once joked that filming his steamy scenes in Without Remorse was harder than his fight scenes. He said, "There's nothing sexy about 30 people watching you kiss someone over and over. Honestly, that's a mood."
So things like that. But I'm not going to lie, I had a couple shots of tequila before that scene because I was very nervous, very, very nervous.
And then you're right, I mean, the reception was huge. Absolutely huge.
Yeah.
Were you prepared for that?
Margot Robbie had her breakout in The Wolf of Wall Street. And yeah, that included some intense moments with Leonardo DiCaprio. She once said she had to take shots of tequila before filming because she was so nervous. Can you blame her?
Kissing scenes with her. So in this film, I'm playing the gay guy and I have a kissing scene with John. And John came up to me and he's not gay. And he came up to me and said, "Look, I've never kissed a bloke,
The man who plays Superman confessed that he once accidentally got aroused during a scene. He was mortified. He said he apologized profusely and tried everything to make it stop. Proof that even superheroes aren't immune to human reactions.
Serious psychological preparation. I mean, there is a lot more of my body that's shown than Jamie's, actually. Weirdly, he's the one doing all the push-ups.
She's done some iconic stuff in 50 Shades, but Dakota Johnson has been super open about how technical and awkward those scenes were. She said the entire thing was so choreographed. It felt more like a dance routine than anything remotely romantic.
Well, that's an expression that I say from wearing a wee bag, but it doesn't mean it's actually wee in size. I wear like quite a big bag.
Jamie was her co-star in 50 Shades, and he revealed that he had to wear a modesty pouch. Basically, it's a tiny pouch for his, junk. Joked that it looked like a little bag of fruit. That man deserves an Oscar just for getting through that trilogy with a straight face.
Because like with sex scenes, you don't know what to do. You're like, is it enough? But your worst nightmare is it too much? Yeah. Are they gonna be like, whoa, whoa, whoa? You don't know what to do.
Jennifer said that before her first major love scene in Passengers with Chris Pratt, she drank wine just to calm her nerves. The awkward part, Chris was married at the time, and she felt so guilty, even though it was just acting. She later called it one of the weirdest days of her life. Speaking of Passengers, Chris admitted he was equally nervous. He said shooting those scenes with Jennifer made him hyper aware of everything, like where his hands were, what his breath smelled like, all of it. It's not all glamour.
You have no choice.
Right.
It's like every scene is like, he sleeps with this person, he does this with this person naked. But it's like, it gets to the point, I've done some movies where it gets to the point where it's like, he goes to the mall, shirtless.
Zendaya's co-star Jacob said he felt gross after filming certain scenes in Euphoria. He said it's not sexy or fun, it's just sweaty, awkward, and full of retakes. Kinda makes you look at those scenes differently, doesn't it?
I'm very clear about what I'm comfortable with, what I'm not comfortable with. I have things in my contract, I have final say over the cut, and I'm very much like, exactly what do you want? How is that shot working? What are we doing next? I basically take control of it, but then I'm very lucky because I'm in a position where I can do that.
Kira has a strict no nudity policy now. She said after becoming a mom, she just didn't want to do certain scenes anymore, unless it's directed by a woman. That's her boundary, and she's not afraid to speak up about it.
Before we shot the pilot, then me and Lena would sit down and talk hours about what it is that she was trying to tell, and then we kind of came up with this thing. But then I haven't seen it. Like, I haven't seen Girls. I saw the first episode of it, but I don't really know what made it in the final cut.
Adam once said his scenes in Girls with Lena Dunham were the most unsexy sexy scenes ever. He called it mechanical and a little absurd. He's the kind of guy who makes deep eye contact while talking about awkward intimacy on camera.
He wouldn't take advantage and that he would be protective, of me as well. But yeah, you do have to protect yourself because It is a very vulnerable place, both physically and emotionally.
Natalie had to film intimate scenes in Black Swan and called them emotionally intense. She said it wasn't just physical, it was about the vulnerability and what the character was going through. She dove deep into it like the pro she is.
No, you typically don't, want to write in a sex scene that lasts for a year, but it was sort of Deadpool appropriate. Everything we did in the movie was very specific. I can imagine that I was probably not the greatest guy to work with because I was so annoyingly specific about everything in this film.
Ryan joked about his Deadpool sex montage with Marina Baccarin, saying it took days to film and was the least sexy thing ever. He said the crew was probably more uncomfortable than he was. Leave it to Ryan to make anything hilarious.
Which was funny I think the two of us, we both had we had to go to dance class. Like, we were very happy to go to the gun shooting range. We both seemed individually fine with that, and then we had to go to dance class, and it was just, oh, Jesus.
Angelina has filmed her fair share of steamy scenes, but she said once that filming with Brad Pitt in Mr. and Mrs. Smith was a bit surreal since the chemistry was just so real. Yeah, that one led to a whole relationship and global tabloid storm.
But it's that thing, when you suddenly feel that deeply about someone and you go through those events together, it's like a runaway train, you can't stop it happening.
Kit said shooting his scenes with Emilia Clarke on Game of Thrones felt like kissing your sister. Since they were so close off screen, it made everything feel weird and a little bit hilarious. His words, not ours.
Novel experience and kind of my career, so I hold them both in very high regard. And I love the other two. The other two were fantastic as well.
Chris Hemsworth, known for his role as Thor in the Marvel movies, once revealed that while filming intense action scenes, he always made sure to check in with his co-stars to ensure everyone felt comfortable and safe. In an interview, he mentioned how important it was to him that the team was always on the same page, especially when filming physically demanding scenes. His care for others on set earned him the reputation of being one of the most thoughtful and considerate actors in Hollywood. We stan a true hero, both on and off screen.
Except it's sexual and not physically, aggressive. Well, actually, you've got some.
Yeah. I was like, speak for yourself.
In my sex scenes in this show, there's not a lot of kink.
Shailene is one of the few actresses who says she actually enjoys doing intimacy scenes, if the message behind them is powerful. She said she feels comfortable when it's honest, not just thrown in for shock value.
Director, everyone that I worked with is just like top notch, You've got to live up to that potential too. You can't be the slacker, especially if you're in like pretty much every frame of the film. So you can't mess up.
Leo's been in tons of steamy scenes, but he never really talks about them. In a rare interview, he once said that those moments are, well, embarrassing, especially when you're surrounded by 30 crew members holding boom mics and staring at your every move.
Any version of an intimate scene, whether it's like a heartbreak scene or a love scene or whatever, it's so wonderful when you A, already admire someone's work, and B, already trust them. And I think that was something that was just like a real gift that, you always hope that that's going to be the case, and it never always is. And it was just truly a joy despite,
Florence doesn't shy away from bold roles, but she's very vocal about how women are often over-sexualized in cinema. She said any intimate scene she agrees to must serve the story, not just someone's fantasy, and that's on boundaries.
So with my parents, I think they kind of knew what they were getting in for to a certain extent. They obviously got the job and they were like, oh, a bit of sex scenes in it, and they were totally behind it. And I think it was more so in kind of the outer circles of my family.
Paul got super vulnerable talking about normal people. He said those scenes were some of the most challenging of his career, but also deeply rewarding, because when done right, they weren't just about bodies, they were about emotion.
I thought it was a really important scene for the character because you can see how she's, is another example of that cry for attention.
Anna's scenes with Ben Affleck in Deep Water sparked real-life dating rumors, and she said it was bizarre how people couldn't separate fiction from reality. She was just doing her job, and suddenly everyone was in her personal business.
Oh, for sure, definitely. And the script itself had a reputation in industry. I mean, many people tried to buy it. It was, well sought after. And for me, I just felt like I can't believe they've come to me to be a part of something like this, because it's just such a huge variety in it. There's so much versatility you can explore. And also with the cast attached,
John Boyega, known for his role as Finn in Star Wars, once joked about filming a love scene in They Cloned Tyrone. He said the most awkward part wasn't the actual kissing, it was trying to make sure his hands didn't do anything too enthusiastic. His exact words were, "It's like walking a tightrope but with less grace." Well, we've all been there, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's nice to see your own reflection while you're making schmexy faces. It's absolutely absurd, actually.
Kristen said the infamous honeymoon scene in Twilight Breaking Dawn was shot like a National Geographic documentary. They were both nervous, and she felt weird being that exposed in such a massive franchise. Twilight fans still talk about it to this day. So what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.